But he's going to try and go. There he goes. He's going to go right around the officers. Well, that was attempt number one to stop him. Actually, number two, because the spike strips certainly didn't work.
Getting off of the East Tex Freeway at Kingwood Drive exit, as we saw, they are still really staying close to him, trying to get him to pull over.
Yeah, well, let's see. Oh, okay. All right. Now, this is where stupidity really comes into play here. Now he has reversed his position on the feeder, but there are so many officers around him. Ooh, they
finding ways through.
I think they missed a chance. They probably could have put that vehicle right there in front and stopped him, but he is going now the opposite direction on the feeder. He's clearly blocked by all of those other vehicles. No chance. Now he's going into the outlet store, area right there. This is off of Kingwood Boulevard, right there, just off the feeder.
Yeah, this is obviously a spot where we're going to find plenty of other people, plenty of vehicles parked. And so, you certainly hope that people get the word that there's something going down and they need to stay inside and stay safe until this comes to an end, because, the officers are specifically not, engaging him with their vehicles. They're not causing accidents. Yeah. They're just trying to let this peacefully play out. But it also looks like there's some employees out there at this U-Haul location that are probably sort of unaware of what's going on.
There they have. They've come out with, they're trying to open the door now. Well, I'm sure they have. You saw the guns. The guns are drawn right there on that driver. Let's hope that he stops. They have the driver's door open. They're going to probably yank him out at this point. That canopy is sort of in the way. We're not able to get the complete picture, but it looks like this may be over and he doesn't have a chance of taking off once again. Don, are you having a different angle?
Well, the best that we can do right now, because of this canopy that's over the scene here, we're going to come around. And it looks as though that they're having a struggle with him.
Sure.
Wow.
Got him on the ground now.
Got him on the ground.
This is where the potential impairment probably comes into play, because most people with that many guns on them probably would have popped out of that vehicle. But they literally did have to physically drag him out of that car. And now you can see these officers getting handcuffs on him and making sure that he is not armed, or she. We haven't even gotten a good picture of who this driver is. And again, if you're just joining us, this all started as a traffic stop, but no crime committed to begin with. They had reason to believe that this driver may have been impaired. It looks like this might be a woman, Don?
Yes, it looks like it may be a woman. She obviously is in tears. She's now handcuffed, and they are going to get her up, and they will search her. They may have to even bring in a female officer to do that. But at any rate, she does not, I really can't tell whether or not she is impaired, but there is a good possibility that may be part of the problem here. Not sure.
Well, this is rather a surprise ending. We did have another chase come to an end pretty recently with a woman, but that's actually pretty few and far between with as many of these chases as we have covered.
Yeah, Eric Barajas here, just relieved Art, and yeah, luckily this came to a peaceful end. As far as we know, we didn't see any damage to other vehicles. No one was injured. They've gotten this lady out of the car now, and they're inspecting that vehicle as well as she's taken to the back seat of that patrol car. But this always could have been a lot worse, and that's the silver lining here, especially on Houston streets and what we've seen in the past.
Absolutely. Don, we were talking about this as the chase went on. It looks like they're using some sort of a blanket there to be able to conduct a search on this woman and maybe even get her seated there. But just a lot of patience that played out throughout this chase that went really across much of our city up on the north side, and cooler heads prevailing the whole time, right?
Well, that's right. I mean, we're very thankful that it ended this way. It's a shame that these chases have to go on as long as they do, but sometimes, and in this instance, it appears as though that all of that played out well, because nobody seems to be injured.
Yeah, Don, what was also interesting about this chase, since we've seen so many here in the Houston area, unfortunately, is it seemed like there were different tactics used. We saw a lot of boxing in, a lot of vehicles getting ahead of the car. So many times it seems like they just stay behind, several vehicles behind the vehicle that's being chased. It seemed like we saw different tactics and different maneuvers used by police on this one.
What you also have to understand, Eric, is the fact that you've got multiple agencies involved: Houston Police Department, Harris County Sheriff's Department of Public Safety, and who knows who else is there. You've also got airborne, so there's a lot of communication amongst all of the officers, and not all are trained exactly the same way. So they all kind of have to get on the same page, and sometimes that can be difficult, as you can imagine, in a fluid situation like this chase.
All right, we want to mention as we continue our coverage here that you are now watching Eyewitness News at 4 p.m. And if you are just joining us, we'll get you caught up on what's happening here. We believe this chase started in Chambers County, and the Chambers County Sheriff says that a crime was not committed to begin with here, but they had reason to believe that this driver could potentially be impaired. As the chase continued, they called HPD to provide some backup. And this is where we saw this play out. Right along the East Tex Freeway, past Beltway 8, up through northeast Harris County. And Don was just talking about some of those tactics, all those different agencies and authorities staying some distance back. And then at one point, they managed to get the 59 totally closed and get spike strips across every single lane of that freeway, so that no matter what, this vehicle was going to end up running over those spike strips. That's actually a pretty incredible feat, because they're having to call up ahead and get all of those lanes closed down. We saw a total stoppage of the traffic there.